Clay is broken down.
Clay moves to final mixing. Bricks move to firing. Finished bricks move forward. Raw clay enters the process. Clay moves toward mixing.
Clay moves toward mixing.
Clay is broken down.
Moisture is added.
Mixing continues.
Texture becomes uniform. Clay moves to final mixing. Consistency is refined automatically.
Clay is conditioned.
Clay enters the extruder. Pressure builds inside the extruder.
A clay column is formed.
Shape stability is maintained. Surface quality is controlled. The column moves to cutting.
Cutting is synchronized.
Cutting continues uniformly.
Bricks move forward.
Shape consistency is checked. Continuous movement is maintained. Spacing is controlled. Bricks enter drying. Bricks enter the drying tunnel. Drying begins gradually. Humidity is controlled. Moisture is reduced evenly. Bricks continue moving. Drying progresses. Airflow remains consistent. Final moisture is removed. Drying nears completion. Drying is complete. Bricks move to firing. Bricks enter the kiln. Preheating begins. Heat builds gradually. Deeper into the kiln. Bricks withstand high heat. Bricks continue through the kiln. Hot air circulates evenly. Bricks move through controlled zones. Temperature is monitored. Bricks leave the hot zone. Cooling air enters the kiln. Temperature begins to drop.
And let us obtain the aging tools of Singapore.
Bricks move steadily. Bricks approach the exit. Bricks exit the kiln. Bricks enter post-kiln cooling. Cooling continues on the conveyor.
But that you pick them up the box and you've apparently written several brakes when mentioned the vehicle.
Air flows over the bricks. Brick surfaces remain stable. Temperature continues to normalize. Cooling nears completion. Bricks move to the exit line. Finished bricks move forward. Spacing remains controlled. Bricks approach stacking. Automated stacking begins. Bricks are arranged into layers. Stack alignment is controlled. Completed stacks move out. Finished bricks are ready. Brick production is complete. Tile production begins with natural raw materials.
Clay is the primary base material.
Clay is the primary base material.
Heavy equipment extracts the clay. Raw clay is loaded for transport. Clay is extracted in large quantities. The material remains soft and workable. Raw clay is loaded for transport. Raw clay is loaded for transport. Clay is extracted in large quantities. The material remains soft and workable. Raw clay is loaded for transport. 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 Raw clay is loaded for tran Each load carries several tons of clay. The supply runs continuously.
Clay moves directly to the processing plant.
Raw clay arrives at the factory.
The clay is unloaded for preparation. Clay is stored before crushing. Controlled feeding begins. This clay will form the base of ceramic tiles. Clay now enters the crushing section. The material remains soft and workable. Mixed prepares the clay for grinding. Large clay lumps are reduced in size. Clay breaks without hard impact. The texture becomes more uniform. Material moves smoothly to the next stage.
Moisture is added for wet processing.
Clay is prepared for wet grinding. Wet grinding begins inside the ball mill. Clay mixes with water to form slurry. Clay mixes with water to form slurry. Fine grinding improves consistency.
Grinding continues for several hours.
The clay slurry reaches required fineness. The material moves for screening. Oversized particles are removed. Rejected material is reground.
Only fine slurry moves forward.
The slurry is temporarily stored. Continuous mixing prevents settling.
Uniformity is essential for tile quality.
Uniformity is essential for tile quality.
The next step is spray drying.
Wet grinding is now complete. Prepared clay slurry is pumped to the spray dryer. The clay slurry enters the spray drying stage. Clay slurry is atomized into fine droplets. Hot air dries the clay droplets instantly. Moisture is removed from the clay rapidly. The clay changes from slurry to granulated. Granulated clay is collected below. Dried clay powder moves for further processing. Clay dust is separated from hot air. Clean air exits after clay drying. Granulated clay has controlled moisture content.
The clay powder is temporarily stored.
The clay powder is temporarily stored. Clay storage ensures steady supply. Clay powder is released for pressing. The clay powder moves to tile forming. Clay handling remains controlled.
Clay quality is checked continuously. Uniform clay feeding is essential.
Granulated clay flows consistently. Clay moisture is precisely monitored. Clay drying continues without interruption. Clay production matches press demand. Uniform clay ensures strong tiles. Clay is prepared for shaping. The clay now enters the forming stage. Granulated clay is fed into the press. The clay flows evenly into the system. The press mold prepares to receive clay. A precise amount of clay fills the mold.
The clay distributes evenly.
Pressure is applied to the clay.
The clay is compacted under extreme force.
Controlled pressure shapes the clay tile. Pressure is released carefully from the clay. A raw clay tile is formed. The clay tile is ejected from the mold. Automation handles the clay tile gently. The clay tile moves to inspection.
Clay tile quality is checked immediately.
Proper compaction gives clean clay edges. The cycle repeats with fresh clay. Clay tiles are produced continuously. Clay tiles are aligned for drying. Fresh clay tiles remain fragile. Clay still contains moisture. The clay tiles move toward drying. Drying prepares the clay for firing. Drying removes remaining moisture from clay.
Clay drying temperature is controlled.
Gradual drying prevents cracks in clay. Dry clay tiles are now stable.
The clay tile is ready for glazing.
Clay tile forming is complete. Dried clay tiles enter the glazing line. The clay tile surface is prepared for glazing. Glaze is prepared for clay tiles. Glaze is pumped to the clay tile line. The glaze system aligns over clay tiles. Glaze is applied evenly to clay tiles. Uniform glazing protects the clay tile surface. Excess glaze is recovered from clay tiles. Glaze thickness on clay tiles is controlled. Operators fine-tune clay period glazing for clay tiles. Roller glazing ensures smooth clay tile coverage. The glaze creates a smooth layer on clay tiles. Air knives refine glaze on clay tiles. Glazed clay tiles move to decoration. Digital printing begins on clay tiles. Designs are printed onto clay tiles. Printed ink bonds with glaze on clay tiles. Printed clay tiles are stabilized before firing.
Clay tile appearance is carefully checked.
Clay tiles are prepared for kiln firing. Glazed clay tiles approach the kiln. Clay tiles enter the firing stage. Firing conditions for clay tiles are controlled. The kiln transforms clay tiles permanently. High temperatures harden clay tiles.
The glaze fuses with clay tiles.
Firing nears completion for clay tiles. Fired clay tiles exit the kiln. Digital printing continues on glazed clay tiles. High-definition designs are applied to clay tiles. Printed clay tiles are stabilized before firing.
Clay tile print quality is carefully checked.
Digital printing is complete for clay tiles.
Finished clay tiles move to the packing section.
Clay tiles are packed carefully to prevent damage.
Clay tiles are packed and ready for delivery.